Coming up, the WBA and IBF Cruiserweight Champion Evander Holyfield versus WBC Cruiserweight Champion Carlos De Leon for the unification of the Cruiserweight Junior Heavyweight Championship. Holyfield's mission to unify the title, then place Mike Tyson in his future plans. But first, he has some unfinished business, and he knows he must win convincingly tonight. Dave Dials has more.
Okay, well, we've done several Evander Holyfield fights, and there's a constancy about the young man. He is an outstanding young man, the type you'd like to have for a neighbor. And a couple of weeks ago, I went down to Houston, Texas, and I got to know him a little bit better, and after looking at this, so will you. In just his 12th professional fight, Evander Holyfield was thrust into the ring with Dwight Cowie, a swarming and cagey campaigner with no quit in him. In a 15-round decision questioned at least by Cowie, Holyfield won his first world championship, a learning lesson for the Olympic medalist who told me he likes all there is about this sport.
I enjoy the sport, and boxing is something that really, it's an entertainment thing. I like just as much going up to the ring and people hollering and all that just as much as fight. And it's always a pleasure to get in the ring and just to see how many people came to the fight. And you knew that all these people came to see you fight.
He knows the hard realities of the sport enough to resist the temptation to move too soon to the heavyweight ranks.
I didn't want to make a move too soon. I knew that for his technician skills and stuff, I had it, but for his strength-wise, I knew I had to mature and move slowly, because in this boxing business, you can be treated just as a piece of meat. And so if you take your time and do the right thing, then you better your chance.
Holyfield KO'd Olympic teammate Henry Tillman, then claimed part 2 of the cruiserweight crown in this same Las Vegas ring, taking out Ricky Parkey for the IBF title, a third-round knockout. Parkey at least came to fight, but 3 months later, the wily Ozzy Ocasio came to Saint-Tropez just to run, and he backpedaled successfully until Evander caught him finally in the 11th round. Again, an exercise in the maturation of a fighter. Still winning, yet still learning. And then Cowie got the rematch he had bellowed for, and it was a wiser, tougher Holyfield who came that night.
I was very confident going into the second fight. I know what I had to compete against, because I fought the guy. I knew what he had to dish out. And I felt like I had to be a better fighter the second time to beat him.
That was last December. Holyfield did what no one had done. He knocked out Dwight Cowie. It was an impressive showing, put another piece in the puzzle, yet left one item in the file Evander Holyfield has labeled for himself the unfinished business.
Right now is one step to unify this cruiserweight division, which is the most important step for me right now. And yes, it is unfinished business.
Tonight, the final piece can be put to complete the puzzle. Carlos De Leon owns the remaining third of the crown. He can box, he can punch, and he has bigger dreams, too.
You only have a good jab and a good right hand, very sneaky and very skillful boxer. I think he will come out and really try to use his jab and really try to frustrate me if he could. But, my main concern is just really just put pressure on him and make him fight hard throughout the 12th round if it goes 12.
For Evander, the sweet science is many things. It is fame, money, approval, and somewhere down the line, there is the specter of Mike Tyson, himself invincible. But for now, Carlos De Leon stands in the way of a fight with, if not thoughts of, Tyson.
The most important thing in fighting Tyson is to get Tyson respect and make Tyson realize that he's fighting somebody that want to win just as much as he. This sport here is a sport that you have to learn everything that you can in training. And when you come out, you have to let things go. I pray for each fighter that I fight, and I leave it in God's hand.
And there he is amidst this capacity crowd, the world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson with his wife Robin Gibbons, the actress, and that is the man. as they are introduced, Mike Tyson is the man that Evander Holyfield wants to meet down the road. And he says, Holyfield does, that this is his last cruiserweight fight, and he has to look good in a victory over Carlos De Leon. And he really feels deep down in his heart that he can provide the challenge for Mike Tyson.
He can if he proves himself as a heavyweight. One of the problems tonight is he's been bulking up their fight, sacrificing his speed. If he sacrificed too much speed, he's going to be in trouble with De Leon, who's coming to fight. He's a champion who can punch, who can box, who can run, who can stand still and punch, and better than everything, who is very confident tonight. I think one of the things we have to look forward to is the first round. If De Leon comes out and really lays it out with Holyfield, as he told me he wants to do, to put some hurt on Holyfield, we could see a really tough night of fighting. If, on the other hand, he runs around the first round, then we have something else in common. De Leon's strategy is he has to use his boxing skill and foot speed to avoid Holyfield. He has to make Holyfield pay the price as he comes in, and when Holyfield gets inside, he has to tie him up because he uses his head, his elbows, everything he can. He's a dirty fighter. He's going to disconcert Holyfield.
As far as Evander Holyfield is concerned, do you sense a genuine respect for the more experienced De Leon in terms of Holyfield?
I think there's a respect, but an ignorance of the importance of the night. Ignorance is a bad word. He's not overlooking the importance. He just doesn't seem to be coned in like he usually is. Maybe Tyson's here looking. Maybe everybody's counting the heavyweights he's going to fight. I don't sense the intensity that I sense in Carlos De Leon. De Leon, this is his whole night. Make or break. This is what's going to do him for the future. This is his fight. So he has got to get to the point where he can decide when to box and when to punch. He likens himself to Sugar Ray Leonard the night he fought Hagler. That's what he sees himself as. Box when he has to, punch when he has to.
Holyfield known for his explosive jabs and powerful right. How about his strategy tonight?
His strategy is that Holyfield has to cut the ring, go to the body immediately on De Leon to take his legs out from under him. Force De Leon into a punch out because he's a superior puncher, and avoid getting tied up because this is what can cause him cuts. De Leon knows every trick in a book. He's been a champion on and off since 1980. He is an experienced fighter inside. Holyfield is not, and that's where you get the bumps and bruises.
How do the respective trainers view the strategy of tonight's fight? First, we'll hear from De Leon's trainer, Yamil Shadeh.
We have all the ways to beat him. We are ready. If he come to box, we box him. If he come to fight, we go to fight him. If he go to run, we try to stop him. We go to beat him.
Evander's fight will be to press him to make De Leon fight. I mean, if he's gonna run, we're gonna make him run faster until he slows down, and he's gonna have to do something or else he'll run out the ring.
So we await the entrances of the two principals involved in tonight's main event. Evander Holyfield and Carlos De Leon, the battle to decide the undisputed cruiserweight championship. And we're going to take a look at an interesting profile of Carlos De Leon, the WBC cruiserweight champion.
Las Vegas, Nevada, the Strip, the glitter capital of the world, a city of lost chances and newfound opportunities, of high rollers, fancy ladies, and big-time excitement. A far cry from the placid island of Puerto Rico, home of the WBC champion Carlos Sugar De Leon, where De Leon has been in training for tonight's fight with Evander Holyfield in the comfort of home surroundings and blissful peace and quiet. I've been waiting for the opportunity to fight Holyfield, and tonight I get that chance. And I'll be the only champion like Tyson. The in-and-out championship battles of Sugar De Leon started with his winning the title from Marvin Campbell in November of 1982. Then in a shocking upset, St. Gordon knocked out De Leon in 2 rounds, June 1982. And then De Leon avenged that loss by regaining the title July 1983 from St. Gordon, only to lose it again by decision to Alfonso Ratliff in Las Vegas in June of 1985. And finally, he set a world cruiserweight title record by winning it back once again against Bernard Benton, March 1986. which by any yardstick puts him at a crossroads of his long career.
Te diré que esta es la pelea más grande de mi vida.
This is the biggest fight of my life.
Esta pelea pues significa todo para mí.
It signifies everything for me.
Tengo que ganarla.
I've got to win it.
Como sea, la tengo que ganarla.
No matter how, I've got to win it.
Porque esta es la pelea
I will win it. It's the fight of my life. I'll be fixed for life, my future, my children. I won't have to work 8 hours a day. Winning this fight, I assure myself a shot with Tyson. Las Vegas offers unusual opportunities to relax after a day's hard training. There's Spartan diet and bleak surroundings, a chance to augment his purse. And isn't it odd that a man earning hundreds of thousands of dollars should be playing the quarter slots? It proves that Carlos de Leon is a cautious man outside as well as inside of the ring. And what better way to cool out after a hard workout than a nice convertible ride at dusk in Las Vegas, down the strip, checking things out, to see the bright lights, to watch the people in action, the crowds waving, and finally to visit his sign. How often does a young man get to see his name up in lights? This Thursday, De Leon checked the ring where he would come to his crossroad. Could he have been thinking of a night a year ago when another Sugar scored the upset of the decade right here at Caesar's Palace?
The winner by a split decision and new middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Pero yo siempre estoy bien positivo.
I feel very positive.
Que no voy a tener problemas.
No problem.
Y no voy a tener problemas porque a mí me gusta pelear.
No problem, because I like to fight. I've never represented my country. I have not had a chance to win a medal, and I'm fighting a guy who won the Olympic medal for his country. The public knows him. He's got to get by me. There's a bridge between us that he must cross. I am his bridge. He is my bridge. Only one of us is crossing the bridge to Tyson, and it will be me.
Holyfield de Leon to unify the Cruiserweight Championship, scheduled for 12. Holyfield says it's his last fight as a cruiserweight, barring an upset defeat. And we take a look at 28-year-old Carlos Sugar de Leon, the three-time WBC cruiserweight champ with the flag of Puerto Rico, 43-3-1, 29 KOs. And you wonder what might be spinning through his mind right now as he closes in on his first meeting with a man who is being projected as a future opponent for Mike Tyson, who is in the crowd tonight watching. De Leon, a fighter in the truest sense of the word, has faced adversity, returned to conquer, bouncing back from an embarrassing defeat to S.T. Gordon to eventually win back the crown. Tonight, though, he will have his toughest test since turning pro in 1974. So here he is, Carlos Sugar de Leon, with his entourage heading into the ring. His opponent, here he comes, 25-year-old Evander Holyfield, showing off the belt, 17-0 with 13 knockouts. Ring Magazine's 1987 Fighter of the Year. Tonight, his first fight of '88. And the last time we witnessed this scene, it was on Showtime. And the WBA and IBF Cruiserweight champ was en route to a fairly quick night's work when he stopped White Muhammad Kawi in the fourth with a very convincing performance. Tonight, Holyfield looks to lock up the undisputed cruiserweight title, then go up in weight and eventually fight for the heavyweight title against Mike Tyson. His trainers estimate about 6 months to turn him into an equally effective 200-plus pound fighter, with aspirations of meeting Iron Mike sometime next year. But Holyfield fully realizes he must win tonight, and he must look impressive in doing so.
The win is so much more important than the impressive, because of course if he doesn't win, he won't be too impressive. But Tyson is here. Everybody's talking Tyson. The more they talk Tyson, the more nervous it makes me, because as I've said over and over again, funny things happen on the way to the title. He can unify this title and all of a sudden find himself not looking at Tyson. Here's the tail of the tape. You see two men that are pretty equal in everything except age. DeLeon being 28, Holyfield 25, but everything else is about the same weight. DeLeon was 3 pounds overweight on Thursday, and he lost 5 pounds to make it here.
And we are getting set for the national anthems here at the Sports Pavilion.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for our color guard of the evening from the United States Marine Corps. And now I would ask you all please to rise as we pay honor to our country by the playing of our national anthem. Mr. Marty Minkin of Los Angeles, California, the lead supervisor. The IBC representative is Marion Muhammad of Irvington, New Jersey, and the WBA representative, Mr. Fred Lamson of Louisville, Kentucky. Representing the Nevada State Athletic Commission at ringside, the chairman of that body, Mr. Herb Santos. The officials assigned by the governing bodies for the next bout of the afternoon. The judges are Larry O'Connell of London, England, of the WBC. Mr. Bob Watson of Detroit, Michigan for the IBF, and Mr. Dalby Shirley of Las Vegas, Nevada for the WBA. The timekeeper is Mike Lachella. Counting in the knockdowns,
Henry Gluck, the chairman of the board of Caesar's World, and pretty a big fight fan.
He's a big fight fan, and next to him, well, we barely just saw the hair of Don King, ever present, lurking over Tyson and waiting to take over a big move.
The undisputed Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Introducing in the red corner, fighting out of Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico, weighing in at 188 pounds, with a professional record of 43 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw with 29 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, the WBC Super Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Carlos De Leon. And in the blue corner, from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing 190 pounds. He is undefeated in his professional career with 17 wins, no defeats, and 13 KOs. Introducing the undefeated IBF and WBA Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Evander Holyfield.
Back up. Okay, make a step back. Now, if he goes right here, I'm not going to call it low. It's all right? I'm not going to call it low if he goes here.
But look where
if he goes here, I'm not going to call it low.
Fine, okay,
all right?
Okay, fine.
You already had your instructions. Any questions over here?
Here is right over here. Right? That's where you're going to...
Well, any questions?
Nova stealing the show from Mills Lane. The rules for the Cruiserweight title unification bout. 10-point must system, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Saved by the bell only in the last round, and only the referee can stop the fight. And here we go. Round 1 scheduled for 12 for the undisputed Cruiserweight Championship. Evander Holyfield in the white trunks with the black trim, and Carlos De Leon in the all-red trunks, and they come out wailing away.
He came out, De Leon came out just like he said he would. He wanted to put some hurt on Evander Holyfield. Only difficulty with that is you can get some hurt back, because that's what Holyfield wants, a punch out.
Holyfield describes De Leon as a tricky fighter, hard to study. Holyfield says his conditioning will be the key factor, but he does not take the experienced De Leon lightly. He intends to pressure De Leon and wear him down with different shots to the body. We shall see.
Now, De Leon has come out in exactly the fashion he said. Open up with a few hard shots, box a little, and watch for his opportunities to punch hard.
De Leon won the WBC Cruiserweight title in 1980 with a decision over Marvin Camel. He has been the champion on and off for the last 8 years. Evander Holyfield, the real deal, 2-time world champion. A left scores by Evander Holyfield.
Holyfield is hunting patiently. He's not getting wild or not getting crazy, just chasing him methodically, waiting for those openings.
The punches by De Leon being blocked by Holyfield effectively.
Except for the body shots. De Leon coming under Holyfield's guard has been jabbing to the body. A couple of uppercuts you just saw to the body by De Leon.
From the category of For What It's Worth, Showtime has become the network of upsets. A number of top names have succumbed to the Showtime jinx. Gabby Canizales upset Richie Sandoval for the WBA bantamweight title. Canizales upset then by Bernardo Panango in his first defense. Barry McQuiggan lost his WBA featherweight title to a substitute challenger, Steve Cruz. Lloyd Hunnigan shocked Donald Curry, and there were also a number of minor upsets. So just keep that in mind as we go along here.
Right now it's an even round. Both men landing good grazing right. Just landed by Holyfield.
Crisp left by Evander Holyfield. He is known for his right.
Holyfield can hook with a great deal of power, but De Leon in his experience has his gloves up over his head. He's not getting hit that much.
Holyfield all business, not a showboat. Final seconds, round 1.
Punch out, 2 hands are free. Come on,
and that'll do it for the first scheduled for 12. We will follow the WBA and IBF Cruiserweight champion Evander Holyfield into his corner. Lou Duva and George Benton. And Ace Barada is the cut man. Over in the De Leon corner, where Esteban Garcia does the talking.
Ten cuidado, te está tirando mucho gancho izquierdo para confundirte y después te va a meter el derechazo. Ten cuidado con eso, te está tirando mucho gancho izquierdo para meterte el derechazo. Cuidado.
His main concern is those left hooks that he's been getting hit, because he says that that's lulling you to sleep. The right hand is coming after that left hook. That's the main concern of the corner.
Here we go, seconds out.
Bertie, the sun sets in the west here in Las Vegas. We are at beautiful, majestic Caesars Palace, and we are in the Sports Pavilion. Capacity crowd close to 5,000 on hand. Round 2 scheduled for 12.
First round was very close. I gave it to De Leon on superior boxing, more effective punching. But Holyfield had not gotten wound up yet. Now we see a different Holyfield in the second round.
Holyfield landing with rights and lefts to the head of De Leon.
This is a different Holyfield from the first round. He's come out here to do business. He's come out here to impress. He's come out here to get rid of Sugar De Leon as fast as possible. At certainly took the zap out of De Leon. He's not bouncing around. That little opening exchange just kind of took the heart out of De Leon.
Again, those sharp right hands of Evander Holyfield having effect. Little left by De Leon had no effect on Holyfield.
Holyfield's got him where he wants him. On the ropes, De Leon taking the punishment. De Leon better figure a way out of there, or else he will get pounded into submission on the ropes, or so much damage done that Holyfield can take him out with ease later on.
Not as spirited as the first round. Midway through the second. A right by Holyfield that landed. And now combinations by Holyfield that are having impact on De Leon's head.
De Leon is slowing up. Here comes De Leon a bit. He's got to get off those ropes.
Holyfield with a flurry. De Leon is in trouble.
Big trouble with De Leon.
A blistering attack by Evander Holyfield. A hard left by Holyfield.
Too much time for De Leon. He's got to sit here and weather the storm. He's in deep, deep trouble.
Can Carlos Sugar De Leon withstand this assault? Can he make it through two?
Why Holyfield is lightened up, I don't know, because those devastating punches had De Leon ready to go.
De Leon losing a lot of power as Holyfield continues to administer the punishment.
De Leon fighting back with not too much power, but he's trying.
And De Leon gets through the second round. We will follow De Leon to his corner.
Tienes que boxearlo, ¿ok? No te pases. Centro de ring no te pases más, chicos. Centro de ring, ¿cómo ya? ¿Qué pasa? No vayas a la soga con él, ya ves. Ya ves, ¿tú estás entendiendo?
Immediately they tell him, get off those ropes. What are you doing there? Why aren't you in the middle of the ring? Why aren't you boxing? And he could well say, because Holyfield is punching me right into that rope. I can't get away. As you can see right now, if you look at your screens, you can see the way one man keeps the other one punched right to the ropes. He's being nailed to that rope. He can't get away. Now he tries to slide away. Holyfield follows and nails him again. Beautiful work by Holyfield.
Round 3 scheduled for 12. De Leon in the fight of his life here against Evander Holyfield to unify the Cruiserweight Junior Heavyweight title.
It looked like two different fighters. The first and the second round did Holyfield. Holyfield came out sort of disinterested in that first round, feeling him out. Second round was all work.
The unification will be a first as far as this division is concerned in the history of boxing.
Beautiful body shots by Holyfield, who is taking the legs out from the older and more ring-worn Carlos De Leon.
And once again, Holyfield pinning De Leon to the ropes.
De Leon is given a chance. He got away from the ropes and stays there. He hasn't got any legs. That's what the body attack does. Tremendous crunching left hook by Holyfield.
And the bulking up program does not seem to have taken any speed, at least from the punches, away from Holyfield.
The only thing mysterious right now is why he loses concentration or the intensity of his punches. Holyfield seems to punch hard 3, 4, 5 times and then pity-pat again. Not really hard. Why is he doing that? This is the opening of the third round. He should be wailing away.
Holyfield continues to have his way past the midway point of round 3.
No question, De Leon carrying a lot of hurt into the beginning of this third round.
The left jabs of Holyfield pestering De Leon.
He's holding that right back.
Tripling up with the left, and you're right. Everybody in the house waiting for the explosive right.
Now, De Leon has that open avenue to get away there. He didn't do it. He can't move. He has an open avenue to get a circle away right now to get into that middle of the ring. He is standing still to get hammered by Holyfield.
De Leon really worn out. He just can't get away.
They have a Holyfield has effectively taken the legs away from Carlos De Leon.
These seconds must feel like minutes to Carlos De Leon.
Even when Evander gives him a bye, says, okay, I'm moving out, you can move. He still doesn't move from one rope to the other.
And that'll do it for round 3. Evander Holyfield. Looks like he's chiseled from granite. Dave Dials with a very special guest, the heavyweight champion Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, the undisputed heavyweight champion. Your impression of the fight, particularly Evander Holyfield?
Well, Evander's putting a great deal of pressure, but as you see, he's fighting an experienced fighter and a very game champion, and he's not intimidating. He's coming to fight. And Evander, as you see, is getting hit with a great deal of punches also. And I don't think he never fought a fighter in this particular kind of class. And the guy, he hit the guy with his best shot, and the guy looked at him, came back fighting. And we got to see what kind of effect would that have on him mentality-wise.
Is Holyfield ready for Mike Tyson?
He's a good fighter.
Who's managing you right now?
Bill Caton is managing me.
What about Don King?
No, Don King's not my manager. Bill Caton's my manager.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dave, thanks very much. Mike Tyson. I guess there had been some rumors, some controversy in the papers back east about who indeed is managing Mike Tyson. A flurry here in round 4. Holyfield again.
Holyfield decided to fight a little bit from outside, to jab a little bit, and caught De Leon by surprise.
Oh, that left connected by Holyfield. Flush on the face of De Leon. It's interesting, I was talking with former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes just the other day, and he says what you need against Mike Tyson is to use speed or fight him inside very closely.
I think you need prayer more than anything else when you fight Mike Tyson.
It doesn't hurt.
Again, mystified a little bit in the way that this is a stop-and-start fight for Holyfield. When you just know that if he pressed on it, he would have De Leon out. He lets him off the hook over and over and over again.
Not even the cunning and guile and craftiness of Sugar De Leon seems to be helping him at this stage.
Nothing on Holyfield's punches just then. He must be lulling him into one of those hard shots of his.
Past the midway point of round 4, scheduled for 12. Combination by Holyfield, getting through. Almost every punch penetrating.
Good hard hook by De Leon. Every once in a while he gets in there just to remind him he's still there. He's not by any chance laying down. He still keeps working.
Minute remaining in round 4. Combination by Holyfield again slipping through the defense of De Leon.
And Holyfield must really be starting to wonder what is holding this guy up. I've hit him every shot in the world, and he's still here.
And to the body and to the head. Like that.
It is a blueprint for a beating.
Well, De Leon might survive yet another round.
jabs are right.
Final seconds, round 4. Carlos De Leon still standing.
Tape on the glove. Muévala de lado a lado, ¿ok? Lado a lado. Ahí quédate, ahí quédate.
You can see this colossal beating that De Leon is taking, but many punches miss, as we've just seen. De Leon seems to come back with enough to keep him discouraged, or at least to keep Mills' lane occupied and not stop a fight, because it's nowhere near the point where it should be stopped. If this guy, Carlos De Leon, has the stamina and the strength to hold up while Holyfield gets tired, you can see different fights. The fight goes 12 rounds.
They apply the end swell under the right eye of Evander Holyfield.
Here we go.
Some beautiful shots outside Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. Breathtaking. We are inside at the Sports Pavilion. And round 5 scheduled for 12. Holyfield in the white trunks, De Leon in the red trunks, and Holyfield just picks up where he left off.
Started like a carbon copy of the last round. From outside, a couple of jabs, a hard right. That was the first time that De Leon has gotten on his toes and started to move around. That's what he should have been doing. That's the first time he's done that. Away from the ropes, backed up into that corner again.
His manager, Yamil Shadeh, says he will not run. He will not run. He says he came here to fight. If he loses, he will lose with dignity.
Well, so far he's got a lot of dignity, and he's losing.
Once again, if Holyfield prevails, and things are certainly looking very good, he will move up this summer to the heavyweight division with an eye in about a year of challenging Mike Tyson.
Considering the incredible pummeling that De Leon takes, isn't it odd that it's Holyfield that has a swollen eye? I wonder if he hit himself in one of those exchanges.
Very ironic. May have been Lou Duva. He can get pretty animated in the corner.
Just the volume of his verbiage will give you a swollen eye. Look at De Leon bounce. Is that not an awesome sight? I mean, a guy's taking that kind of a pummeling to the body can still play a little bit.
Well, tonight, as part of our Showtime Championship Boxing, we introduce a feature called simply The Sounds of Boxing. This is a sport that certainly takes on a very unique and special sound. With that, we'll lay back, let you take in the unmistakable sounds of boxing. We should also point out, for the first time ever, a Showtime sports event coming to you in stereo. Final seconds, round 5.
The thought of Lou Duva in stereo boggles the mind.
So we are 5 rounds complete for the undisputed Cruiserweight Championship scheduled for 12. Again, they apply the end swell. And now to the corner of De Leon.
Centro del ring, vamos a cansarlo, tocarlo un poco. Está cansado ya.
And the advice is get your jab going and start moving. The other guy's getting tired of punching you. Certainly not the kind of thoughts you want to dwell on a lot. But in the years that I've watched him, he is the best trained that I've seen De Leon. The De Leon that I saw in January on the Tyson undercard would have gotten knocked out in the second round.
And a look at the unofficial scorecard of Ferdy Pacheco.
49-46, no question about it. And one of those rounds could have been an 8-point round because he pummeled De Leon under the new scoring system.
Round number 6, scheduled for 12. Holyfield starts out with the left jabs. That left by De Leon, a glancing blow.
And a hard one. That was the meanest punch he'd thrown in many rounds.
Holyfield able to elude.
De Leon has a little nick on his left eye. Small, just opening up. That right hand didn't help.
A crisp right, another right, and a left by Evander Holyfield as the barrage rages on. De Leon this time able to slip away from the ropes, but he backs right up into the corner.
How can he even be standing after that? He got hit some very hard shots by Evander Holyfield.
Vicious shots by Holyfield.
Now even the jab is backing up De Leon. Here he's got an avenue to escape. He doesn't. No motion in this fight. Everybody just in front of everybody just throwing. Holyfield right in front of De Leon, catching everything.
And that lunging left jab by Holyfield having effect. Holyfield, the accumulation of punches just clearly wearing De Leon down, and De Leon just has no starch left in him.
Try as he might, De Leon just hasn't got the formula, the strength, and possibly the skill to keep Holyfield off.
And keep in mind, De Leon had in his mind coming into this fight a shot at Mike Tyson, but looking very unrealistic.
Well, considering that everybody expected him to run in the Ocasio manner, this has been the exact opposite. He said he was going to stand and fight. He didn't realize when he said that it meant one guy was going to fight and the other guy was going to catch.
As we head to the final minute of round 6.
There have been an extreme few, I don't think any clinches that I can remember. No chance for De Leon to use his guile and skill on the inside. He's been dominated by Holyfield.
Holyfield really fighting an intelligent fight. Out boxing and an out foxing De Leon.
Out punching, wearing him out, doing everything he wants to with him. But we're in the 6th round, and there stands De Leon taking his pummeling.
Another barrage by Holyfield, and withstood by De Leon. Harsh left by Holyfield. As we head for the bell, round 6. And at this spot on the map, it is almost an unreal world, a world of glamour and glitz. The Strip in Las Vegas, where dreams can come alive and illusions are often shattered. As we take a look under the eye of Evander Holyfield.
Take your time. You have to drink it. Be nice and calm. Stick the guy, stick the guy.
I got this.
When you get close, hit the guy in the body. Hit him in the body and hit him with double clutch. You don't have to throw yourself away because the guy's dead, see? Now, if you use your jab, you're going to beat this guy to death. But now you got to go.
Beautiful.
But go back to jabbing him in the chest. You understand?
You hit him with right hands. You're not coming back with that much.
That voice you heard is the master of that corner, Georgie Benton. Georgie Benton, the brains of that corner, I should say, great middleweight in his day, contender all the way. And he has people jabbing to the chest, figuring that you hit the chin more times than you do the chest when you do that. He has all of his fighters doing that. And I think they want Holyfield to lighten up for a round. go jabbing, boxing a little bit. After all, the depressing fact is we're only halfway through this bout, and he's already fought enough to expend energy for 10 rounds. Question of stamina is going to come in here pretty soon for Holyfield.
Evander Holyfield, his last fight, December 4th, 1987, as seen here on Showtime. It only went 4 rounds when he disposed of White Muhammad Qawi with a ferocious right to the chin. Of course, Holyfield Qawi 1 was at a much more furious pace. And it was the fight of the year. Holyfield is the fighter of the year, according to Ring Magazine, 1987.
Well, you can certainly see that he's taken his corner's advice. He's easing up this round, mostly jabs. De Leon's not doing anything differently. Some scattered boos beginning to sound in the crowd because a fight really does mean a fight between two people, not a one-way beating.
De Leon has had 7 title defenses, most in the cruiserweight division. And tonight's bout for Holyfield is the first step in an ambitious 1988 schedule, which hopes will lead to a 1989 meeting with Tyson.
I think this is the last time we'll see him as a cruiserweight for a very long time. I think he'll step up into the heavyweights, bulk up, and try to go for El Dorado, who's sitting on the other side of that ring in the form of Mike Tyson.
Oh, a powerful shot by Holyfield that sent De Leon's head jutting back.
And his body coming forth as if he wanted to fall, and Holyfield let him stand up.
The first good shot by De Leon of the night. That got a rise from the crowd.
Well, bravery is not what's lacking in De Leon. The level of skill is entirely different.
Looks like Holyfield is getting set again to unload.
Holyfield should turn this guy off the ropes and pummel him in the middle of the ring. What holds him up is those ropes. If he gets him in the middle of the ring, his legs won't hold him, and he can knock him down.
Interesting, the crowd like building to a crescendo, and Holyfield reacting. Final seconds of round 7. Carlos De Leon makes it through another one.
Cada que tira a la derecha hace daño. Saque la derecha como sea, ¿ok? Mira.
Some of the action from the last round, round 7, with Evander Holyfield pummeling De Leon.
If that had happened in the middle of the ring, he goes down. It's just a question of what we used to holler in the corner. Angelo Nendi hollered, let him fall all the time. And that meant step back, let the guy go. Don't keep holding him up. We've had several of those encounters, although at the end of this round, Holyfield for the first time looked truly weary. I mean, he just didn't punch when they kind of zip at the end.
And that ferocious right, while you were talking, just unbelievable how De Leon stayed up, even with the ropes there.
Well,
that may be what Holyfield is wondering.
Come on, seconds out. Come on, let's go. Seconds out.
All right, round 8. Holyfield probably wondering to himself, what must I do to drop this guy?
By his contract, I think. I mean, there's no other way to get him out of here.
Well, let's see if he adheres to your advice and takes him to the center of the ring. Now the lefts by Holyfield doing damage. Now the right by Holyfield penetrating.
What a chin on De Leon. De Leon coming back with some shots. He catches a tired Holyfield. Could be a different ballgame. Look at the blood now on that little nick. Has become a big cut over the left eye of De Leon.
Combination by Holyfield to the head of De Leon. That one sent De Leon reeling back. A blistering attack by Evander Holyfield. Round 8. Mills Lane steps in. He has stopped the fight. Evander Holyfield is the
certainly should have been stopped, Steve. He was taking a pummeling that was unreal. That last assault, no need to continue that kind of punishment. He's been brave. He's hung in there. He has no chance. He hasn't won a round since the first round, and he had no way to come back.
An amazing display of courage by Carlos Sugar de Leon. The new champion, Evander Holyfield. Now 18-0 with 14 knockouts. He has unified the cruiserweight title for the first time in the history of boxing.
That little nick that was over the eye in the previous rounds, as we called it, gets hit by a right hand and opens even wider than it was before. But he was getting hit so many shots, it just had to keep continuing to open up. It just, they don't get better. There's no therapeutic benefit on a right hand flush on a cut. The punishment was intense. There's no question about it. You can't belabor the point. There was no reason for that fight to continue.
Ladies and gentlemen,
to the ring announce.
the time, 1 minute, 8 seconds of the 8th round. Referee Mills Lane stops the bout. The winner by a TKO and new, undisputed, cruiserweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield.
Well, I would imagine the unfinished business is now finished.
And I would imagine what you asked me at the top of the show, that he had to win and win impressively, got settled on both counts. He won impressively. I think Tyson is salivating over there thinking, oh boy, in about a year, are we going to make a lot of money?
And a look at the final flurry in round 8, 108 officially. The TKO when Mills Lane stepped in and said enough is enough.
And that's what makes Mills Lane one of the better referees. I think all the referees are getting so well, so much better.
As the assault continued, and that was it as far as Mills Lane was concerned. Dave Dials is in the center of the ring with the new champion, the undisputed champion.
How does the term undisputed world champion sound to you?
Great. It's something that I always worked towards. Want to be a world champion. Holding 2 belts just wasn't enough. Holding all 3, I realize now at 190 pounds I'm the best.
This isn't just a mission of a year or so or 2 years. This really goes back 4 years this summer.
Yes, it is. From the Olympics, you know, being denied of the gold medal, having to start my way at the bottom, work my way to the top, fought all top contenders. I really appreciate it.
All right. Is this your last fight as the cruiserweight? You told me beforehand that it was in the hands of your people. I know better than that. You make your decisions pretty much.
Yes, I really make the decision when it comes down to it. My manager, Ken Sand, and my trainers and stuff, we're really going to give it a serious thought. You know, we're going to view the tape, and we're going to just take our time. How long it take for us to prepare for a heavyweight, that's how long it would take for me to move up.
You and I were in Houston a couple of weeks ago. You told me that you felt in your heart that you could get up to 211 or 212 if you worked at it.
Well, no doubt about that. My body's really ready to grow. It's my first time in the cruiserweight having problem making a weight. And so that really shows you that the maturity of my body is ready to grow.
There's a gentleman who's been seated over here, has a pretty mature body. His name is Mike Tyson. You saw him.
Yes, I saw Mike Tyson. You know, I really appreciate him being here. It showed that he really cared about the sport, and knowing that someday that man might have to rumble.
Someday? How long?
Well, I really can't determine the exact date, but I'll be ready when the time comes.
One question for Lou Duva. Lou, you kept hollering, body, body, body.
Yes, that's the way to beat these guys. These veterans, you don't try and hit them on the chin. You soften them up first. You go to the body. When you wipe that out, then he's easy to knock out on top. And that's exactly what he did.
And you can hear Lou hollering that.
Yes. Telling him to go to the body. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to go to the body because of the way he was leaning. And every time I would try to go to the body, he would really defense himself with his head. So I got a lot of headbutts at times when I tried to go to the body.
Were you happy with your performance tonight when we talked in Saint-Tropez? You said, look, I knocked the guy out. I wasn't happy with myself. How about tonight?
Well, actually, I'm pretty much happy. I did win, and it would take time for me to really review the tape. A lot of times, I felt like I could have hit him with cleaner shots, or I could have been a lot better, but the guy was very skillful, and I wanted to make sure he wouldn't catch me with some sneaky punch because he did caught me with a few uppercuts, and he used his head as a defensive weapon at times.
You've been a wonderful champion and great for your cooperation, and all of us appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Showtime.
All right. Steve, Ferdy?
Dave, Holyfield wins convincingly, and the question now, what is the effect of this outcome in relation to Mike Tyson with his unfinished business now finished? Holyfield sets his sights on the heavyweight division and an eventual shot at the title. His trainers estimate it'll take approximately 6 months or so to turn him into an effective 200-plus pound fighter. And Mike Tyson was in attendance this evening, and he saw Evander Holyfield.
I think he likes what he saw. He sees a good opponent. All he has to do now is prove himself with the heavyweights. That shouldn't be too hard. Choosing your opponents carefully at the beginning until you prove that you can. I think he can, and the world thinks he can in a year. Then we'll see a big Tyson fight.
Evander Holyfield is the champion, the undisputed cruiserweight junior heavyweight champion. And he did it in Las Vegas. The executive producer of Showtime Championship Boxing is Jim Spence. Tonight's telecast was produced by Bob Lanning and directed by Joe Assetti. Associate producer Dick Ellis. Production manager Maria Sansilio. Assistant to the producer Rich Feinberg. For Bernie Pacheco and Dave Dials, I'm Steve Albert saying so long from Las Vegas. Don't forget, Showtime will present an encore presentation of tonight's telecast tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific Time. And Showtime Championship Boxing will feature Evander Holyfield's heavyweight debut live from Caesars Tahoe in July, exclusively on Showtime. This telecast was a production of Sports Television International and has been a presentation of Showtime Championship Boxing.